Have you ever had your own family dismiss your biggest dream? I'm Ethan Taylor, and this is my ultimate comeback story. They called me the failure, the tech nerd in the Taylor finance dynasty. I was the second son everyone forgot in the family photos, a lone star lost in my own galaxy. Tonight, at their lavish estate, they planned to use this fancy dinner to cut me out of the will with a mocking gift, a derelict warehouse. They thought they were sealing my fate, but they had no idea. I've been hiding a secret for 5 years. The worst part wasn't being cut out. It was that this secret wasn't for revenge. It was to force them to respect me without me having to destroy them. And when the truth hit them, there was no hatred, just the eternal memory of my true worth. It all started with a phone call. My journey proves one undeniable truth. Your value isn't granted by anyone. You build it yourself. If your family, your friends, anyone ever doubted your dream, hit that subscribe button right now. We believe every failure is just an underestimated genius waiting to be unlocked. Comment, I believe, if you truly think success is about staying true to your passion. My name is Ethan Taylor, the son nobody remembered in the family pictures. I'm 29, grew up in the powerful finance world of Stamford, Connecticut, but I was always the one marching to a different drum. While my older sister, Olivia, glowed in her Manhattan high-rise overlooking the harbor, and my little brother, Noah, partied with the Wall Street political elite. I was grinding code for 18 hours a day in a tiny Boston apartment, feeding a dream nobody cared about. They thought this was child's play. But every line of code I wrote, every door investors slammed in my face was a brick in the silent wall I was building around the Taylor dynasty. I wasn't just building a company. I was forging a weapon, the only thing they truly understood, wealth. I wouldn't attack. I just presented in silence, like a curse on their own arrogance. Tonight, I was back at the Taylor estate for my grandfather's will reading, the moment they thought they'd be controlling my future. Little did they know, the company I founded is spearheading the IPO for their own family investment fund. And, when that phone rings, all those years of dismissal will be traded for one single perfect moment of silence. That phone rang with perfect timing. It turned years of being undervalued into a stunning, jaw-dropping silence. The sweetest victories happen when you stop needing anyone's approval. Where are you listening to this story from? Let me know and stick around to see what happens next. This is the story of how my family tried to cut me off, only to find out I was behind a multi-million-dollar company. Growing up in Stamford, in a modern mansion with glass walls overlooking the bay, I was surrounded by success and high expectations. The Taylor name meant something big in Connecticut finance, all thanks to my father, Richard. He's a shrewd investor who measures value only in numbers and powerful connections. His career at a major investment fund spanned 3 decades. His portfolio was just as impressive as the coldness he showed me. I still remember the only hug I ever got as a kid. It was stiff and rushed, like a transaction. When I showed him my coding award, his eyes just scanned right past me, like I was a falling stock price. My mother? She could organize a $1 million charity gala, but she never once showed up to my science exhibition. For her, the perfect family image was everything. When introducing us to the Connecticut elite, she'd glow while bragging about Olivia and Noah, but she'd always skip over me. Olivia, 5 years older, was the family trophy. At 34, she was a top corporate lawyer in Manhattan, with the perfect connections and flawless style, from her neat bun to her Patek Philippe watch. Her law degree hung proudly in my dad's office, like it was his own conquest. Noah, 3 years younger, was the golden boy. He inherited my dad's sharp mind and my mum's charm, the perfect combo for an investment banker on Wall Street, complete with lavish parties and huge ambition. Me, Ethan? I was the big question mark in the middle. I was different from the jump. I obsessed over AI since I was 12, just messing with old books in the library. While Olivia was busy with tea parties and Noah was counting his allowance, I was taking apart old computers in the garage. I taught myself to code, borrowing books, sitting for hours writing simple programs, while my parents freaked out that I wasn't socializing. Computers are for kids who can't play football, my dad once scoffed when he found me coding late. Definitely not a career for a tailor. My mother worried about appearances. Ethan, sitting in front of a screen all day will make you hunch and your skin grey. How are you going to find a decent girl? High school wasn't much better. I excelled in math, physics and computer science at a prestigious Stanford private school. My parents only showed up to one science fair because Olivia needed a ride to a law seminar. My robotics team won the regional championship, but they were busy vacationing in Cape Cod that weekend. Noah's debate victory got a fancy restaurant party. My perfect SAT math score just got a casual, "That's good, son." When college applications came, they mapped out my future. Wharton Business School, work at a major finance firm, then marriage. I chose MIT for computer science. Computer science? My dad just laughed. That's not a tailor field. That's the work our employees do. I still remember the horror in my mother's eyes. But all your friends are going to Yale or Princeton. Who will you even meet at MIT? Despite their disapproval, I went to MIT on a partial scholarship. They could easily cover all of it, but my dad claimed it was to teach me financial responsibility. I worked all through college, waiting tables, tutoring, and still kept a 4.0 GPA. My graduation ceremony? Only Mr. Harris, my old MIT professor, was there. He was the only person who ever encouraged my passion. My parents and siblings skipped it, still upset about MIT over Wharton. Have you ever had your family completely misunderstand your passion? Drop your story down below. I graduated and took my first job at a small tech startup in Cambridge. My salary, $63,000 a year. That's barely pocket change compared to Olivia's six-figure starting wage. Every time we had a family gathering at the Stanford estate, my dreams were the main joke. Ethan is still finding himself, my mother would explain to her friends, as if I was backpacking through Asia, not grinding 63 hours a week, learning the AI game. MIT grad earning office manager wages, my dad joked. One Thanksgiving dinner. His voice was pure acid. Noah had this slick, backhanded compliment game down. It takes courage, man, not caring about money or status. I could never live that free, Olivia just scoffed. That warehouse suits you. Keep dreaming, Noah piled on. Find a real job, dude. Stop wasting your life on code. My dad, Richard, just stayed silent. His look was pure, cold disappointment. My chest tightened. I gripped my hands under the table. I refused to let them see me break. I swallowed their insults. I watched. I learned. And I planned. The startup world taught me what the tailors would never understand. Failure is just a lesson. Rules can be broken. Money is just a resource. Most importantly, my ideas were worth fighting for, tailor name or not. 5 years ago, working at that Cambridge startup, I spotted a chance to change everything. Big banks were struggling to predict market behavior. They were always too slow processing trade data. They were losing millions. The existing AI systems? Slow, inaccurate, and clunky. Finance was operating like it was still the 90s, but the market wasn't waiting. The idea for Ocean Mind Labs hit me at 3 a.m. one night. I was coding in my cramped Alston apartment. I pictured it, a compliant AI platform. It could analyze trade data in real time. It would predict market trends with 98% accuracy. It integrated automated trading, risk management, and financial reporting, all in one place. I drained my savings, $45,000. Every dime I'd scrimped after rent and student loans. Enough to build a prototype and write a business plan. For 8 months straight, I worked my day job, then built OceanMind all night. Coffee and pure spite fueled me. The first big roadblock? Finding a backer, I'd present my pitch to male investors. They'd ask if I had a technical co-founder, meaning a man. Finance is complicated. One guy patronized me, as if I hadn't studied the industry for years. Another suggested I find a seasoned CEO and step back to CTO. "You're clearly smart," he said. But I never saw this coming. The real breakthrough came from a completely unexpected call. I pitched to 20 different investors before I found the one person who got it. Rachel Lee, a former bank executive turned venture capitalist. She gave me a $300,000 seed round, enough to quit my job and hire 3 people, a back-end developer, a UI designer, and Sophia Martinez. Sophia started as an admin assistant, but she instantly became more. Her project management skills and work ethic matched mine exactly. Sophia grabbed my vision right away. "This isn't just software," she said in her interview. "It's going to change how the market works." Within months, she was practically the COO, even though we couldn't afford the fancy title yet. Our first office? A corner of a rented garage in Somerville. We worked 7 days a week, often deep into the night. It was scorching hot in July. We'd sit with a loud, rattling fan, holding ice water cans just to cope. We couldn't afford desks, so we used stacked wooden crates. Then came the breakthrough. 10 months in, a small Boston bank agreed to pilot OceanMind in their trading division. The system boosted their prediction accuracy by 48%. It cut data processing time by 65%. Trading efficiency jumped 35%. We finally had real data, solid numbers that told my story better than I ever could. More banks signed on. Revenue started pouring in. We moved to a real office in Cambridge. We hired 10 staff. We were on the map. I moved back to Boston and just kept building OceanMind Labs, my AI company, now patented. I didn't breathe a word of it to my family. After years of being dismissed, I simply stopped sharing my work life with them. After the initial $300K seed money from Rachel Lee, we landed an extra $5 million from a Swiss fund, pushing our valuation to $80 million. Signing contracts with 100 banks officially bumped us up to a $90 million valuation right before the IPO. After 3 major setbacks, my partner, Sophia Martinez, an MIT engineer, and I had developed an AI system that processed 10 million microtransactions daily with 98% accuracy. They still thought I was at the old startup, maybe with a small promotion. When they asked about my place, I lied, saying I was in a tiny 1-bedroom. Truth is, I'd bought a luxury condo in Back Bay, Boston, thanks to my CEO's salary and funding bonuses. I still drove my beat-up old Nissan Altima to all the family gatherings, leaving the new Mercedes locked up in the garage. This secrecy wasn't just for the big reveal later. It was my only way to shield myself from their endless mocking. When success hit, I realized what I truly wanted to prove. Not to them, but to myself. That I could do this without their connections, their money, or their damn approval. In the weeks leading up to this fateful family meeting, OceanMind Labs was gearing up for its initial public offering. The biggest irony, my father's investment fund, the very place I was deemed unworthy of, was one of the firms leading the IPO, with an initial valuation circling $85 million. We'd scaled up to 50 employees across 3 offices, secured deals with 100 banks nationwide, and processed 10 million transactions every single day. Incut magazine had even named me to their 30 under 30 list for changing finance, but I made sure that article never reached the Taylor house. The night before the meeting, Sophia and I were still on the phone with international investors until 3 a.m. A Swedish firm was looking to dump a massive amount of capital pre-IPO, which could push the valuation even higher. When I chose what to wear, I deliberately grabbed a plain Uniqlo tee instead of the Zegna suit I could now easily afford. I asked myself, is tonight the night I finally spill the beans? I had no idea my family had their own plan too. The Taylor mansion in Stamford was just as I remembered, gorgeous but cold as hell. The modern house, with its floor-to-ceiling glass walls and manicured gardens, had been featured in Architectural Record when I was 15, the same year I won the New England Regional Coding Championship. Obviously, no one mentioned that tonight. I parked my old Nissan at the end of the circular drive, behind Olivia's Audi and Noah's Lexus. I took a deep breath, checked my phone, and set it to vibrate. Sophia knew to only call if it was a genuine emergency. I braced myself for the annual performance, playing the family failure. The heavy oak door opened before I could even knock. There stood Elena, our housekeeper for 18 years. "Mr. Ethan," she said, with a warm smile. It was the first honest human warmth I'd felt all evening. "It's good to see you." "You too, Elena," I replied, handing her a $20 bottle of wine instead of the $180,000 vintage from my own collection. "Is everyone here?" "Yes. They're in the living room having cocktails. Your sister is bragging about her promotion." Just as I expected. I smoothed my shirt, forced a tight smile, and walked toward the clinking glasses and polite laughter. The living room, a massive space overlooking the bay, was my mother's pride and joy. Tonight it was packed with the usual familiar faces. My father was presiding by the fireplace. My mother was arranging the hors d'oeuvres tray with surgical precision. Olivia was talking loudly, and Noah was nodding with that practiced, fake interest. One surprise, Mr. Harris, my old MIT professor, was there. He rarely attended these stuffy gatherings, preferring his simple life. He was a retired engineer, loved wearing worn-out sweaters, and was recently divorced. "Ethan, you finally made it," my mother announced, like I was an hour late, even though I was perfectly on time. Catherine Taylor, 55, looked a decade younger thanks to meticulous skincare and discreet procedures. Her short blonde hair was perfectly styled. That wine-red dress was probably a fresh buy from Bloomingdale's this week. "Hey, Mum," I said, catching her air kiss. "That Somerville traffic must be brutal." "You should really think about moving closer," she replied. "The same opening line for years. There are some gorgeous condos in South End. So much easier." I just smiled. Didn't answer. They were never curious enough to ask about the truth behind this simple tea. Right then, my dad's voice boomed, silencing the room. "There he is." Richard Taylor's sarcasm was always wrapped in a fake, jovial wrapper. He raised his wine glass toward me, but didn't bother to move for a hug. "Still at that little startup, huh?" he asked, though he knew, or thought he knew, exactly what I did. That was his way of reminding me my career was forgettable. Something like that, I kept it vague. Olivia swooped in next, smelling of expensive perfume and pure privilege. At 34, she was a mini clone of Dad, from the Patek Philippe to the slightly too firm handshake. "Little brother, I was just talking about my new division," she boasted. 18 direct reports, corner office with a harbour view. She took a dramatic sip of her gin and tonic. "But I'm sure your little keyboard tapping thing is fascinating too, right?" Noah continued the rounds. He looked straight out of a Brooks Brothers ad, charcoal blazer and a silk tie. Thankfully, his arrogant fiancée was a no-show tonight. That guy always over-explained basic things like I hadn't gone to school. "Ethan, you look so relaxed," Noah said, glancing at my generic polo. "It really suits your lifestyle." The only real smile came from Mr. Harris. He crossed the room and gave me a genuine, tight hug. At 62, Harris was everything my dad wasn't. Warm, curious, and totally unconcerned with social rank. His engineering background had made him the Taylor family's black sheep before me. "Ignore them," he whispered in my ear. "How are you really doing?" I whispered back, thankful he was here. Before pulling away, he slipped a small, folded piece of paper into my hand. "Stay strong." The pre-dinner ritual began. My mother poured premium red wine for everyone, a Taylor tradition. While Dad cross-examined Olivia about the stock market, Noah rambled on about the wedding plans. He detailed the exclusive Monique Lhuillier dress and the struggle of cutting the guest list down to just 200 people. "One bank director can only make the dinner, not the ceremony," he sighed, like it was a genuine tragedy. I sipped my wine, nodding at the right moments. I was thinking, how would they react if they knew I had lunch with that same big bank director last month to discuss financial AI policy, or that the keyboard tapping Noah mocked built Ocean Mind Labs, the company now contracted with 100 banks processing 10 million transactions a day. "Dinner is ready," Elena announced, saving me from the rest of the conversation. The Taylor dining room was designed to overpower you, a long mahogany table, glittering crystal chandeliers, and ancestral portraits lining the walls. Family legend says one of the bearded old men advised a Connecticut mayor, a fact Dad brought up every chance he got. We took our assigned places, parents at either end, Olivia and Noah on one side, and Mr. Harris and I on the other. The vacant seat next to me was Grandpa's before he passed. I had Elena prepare something special tonight, my mother announced as the appetizer arrived. Exquisite crab bisque. Probably cost more than a regular person's weekly groceries. She raised her glass. She toasted Olivia's success, then Noah's wedding plans. Then she paused, clearly struggling to find something for me, finally settling on family togetherness. The family update ritual began as we ate, a Taylor ceremony where everyone flaunted their recent triumphs. It was more a competition than a conversation, with my parents silently scoring points with nods or frowns. Olivia kicked it off, detailing her promotion, her bonus structure, and how her team handled a complex merger. My mother prompted her for extra bragging points. "How many candidates did you beat out for that, darling?" Noah finished his wedding spiel, subtly transitioning to bragging about his Wall Street scores and his fiancée's political connections. "He's building a serious political career with some really promising contacts," he added, aiming for humble. The main course, roasted rack of lamb with seasonal vegetables, was served. All eyes swung to me. "So how about you, Ethan?" my dad asked. His tone made it clear he expected nothing. "Any news with that computer job of yours?" My chest tightened. The urge to spill everything fought with years of silence. This was the moment I'd both dreaded and craved. "Actually," I started, choosing my words carefully, "the AI application I'm building is doing really well. We've partnered with a few big banks." "That's nice, dear," my mother cut in, clearly bored. "Every AI app says that. It's just those demos, darling. A couple $100,000 at most." "It's not a demo, Mom," I said, my voice steady, though I was burning up inside. "It's a patented platform with stable revenue." "Oh? Richard," my father finally spoke. His voice carried the practiced skepticism of a shrewd financier. "What's the platform called? And what exactly do you mean by partnered with a few big banks? I haven't seen a fintech like that in any fund reports." His gaze was challenging, demanding, fully dismissive. My stomach clenched hard. This is exactly why I'd stayed quiet. Even when I spoke the truth, they wouldn't believe it. But this time, I didn't need their belief. I just needed a signal. I stole a glance at my phone under the table. A message from Sophia had just popped up. Just one word. "Ready." In that heartbeat of silence, a flicker of doubt crossed my dad's eyes. One part of me wanted to watch them crumble completely, to taste the sweetness of revenge. But another part, the son who still craved their love, whispered, "Should I stop? Should I give them one last chance to truly see me?" "Olivia, tell everyone about that new estate you're looking at in Cape Cod." And just like that, I was dismissed again. Olivia launched into minute details about beachfront property, and I pushed the lamb around my plate. Why did I still let this hurt after all these years? Mr. Harris caught my eye from across the table. He offered a slight, encouraging smile. He was the only one who seemed to sense the massive secret I was keeping. They had no idea the real drama of the evening hadn't even started. As Elena cleared the main course plates, my father cleared his throat. The Taylor signal for a major announcement. The entire table went instantly quiet. Even Noah stopped rambling about wedding flowers. "Your mother and I have finalized the estate plans and grandfather's will since his passing," he began, swirling the remaining whiskey in his glass. My mother nodded, her practiced, serious face on display. This was clearly not a casual chat. "As you know, the Taylor name comes with certain expectations," my dad continued. "We've always emphasized making choices that honor the family legacy and contribute to its prosperity." I felt my stomach clench. Every time he mentioned family legacy, I knew a critique of my life was coming next. Olivia will receive the Midtown Building shares and will take over management of the primary family investment fund next year, he announced, giving my sister a proud nod. And Noah will receive a $50 million investment endowment. After the wedding, we're gifting you both a home on Block Island for a suitable start. Makes sense, Noah chimed in unnecessarily. My fiancé's political career requires a historic home. My father turned to me, his face shifting from pride to cold assessment. Now for you, Ethan. I sat up straighter, feeling the air shift. Mr. Harris squeezed my hand under the table, an anchor. Your grandfather left you the derelict warehouse property by the docks. Your mother and I have carefully considered this, my father continued, and while we've tolerated your unusual choices for some time, we've come to a final decision. My mother placed her coffee cup down with precise movement. We are cutting off all financial support to you, she announced. Her voice was flat, like she was discussing the weather. Effective immediately, her words hung there, heavy and cold. Even though I hadn't relied on their money since college, the finality of it was a cold, public slap. I bit down hard on my jaw. I tasted blood. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Olivia briefly smirk, quickly hiding it behind her wineglass. She exhaled, as if a bad debt had finally been settled. Noah's eyes glittered with obvious, undeniable glee. The annual allowance, the inheritance rights, access to the resort properties, all of it, my father added, until you demonstrate choices suitable for a tailor. Suitable choices, I repeated, my voice holding steady. My heart pounded, but I kept my hands clenched beneath the table. You mean abandoning my work for what you want? Don't be dramatic, Ethan, Noah jumped in. They only want the best for you. You're wasting your potential on that silly tech job. Olivia nodded in agreement. The family has a reputation to uphold. Your choices affect all of us. I looked around the table, cataloguing their expressions. Dad's cold sternness, Mum's fake concern, Noah's smug satisfaction, Olivia's feigned righteousness. Only Mr. Harris looked truly worried for me. Specifically, what do you want me to do? I asked, surprised by the calm in my own voice. Quit my job. Go into finance like Noah? Marry someone from your approved list? Don't use that tone, my mother warned. We're just trying to fix your mistakes before it's too late. You're nearly 30 and you have nothing substantial to show for it, my mum said. The pure mockery in her voice almost made me laugh, if it didn't hurt so damn much. You've had enough time to prove yourself, my dad added, but you insist on this dead-end AI game. It's time to make grown-up choices, Ethan. The Taylor Fund is meant to support members who contribute to the family name, Olivia lectured, like I was 5. Your little computer hobby doesn't qualify. It's not a hobby, I replied softly. It's a company. My company? A company? Noah scoffed. Oh, come on. You work for a startup that'll probably go under next year, like most of them. Quiet, Noah, my dad Richard roared. He lost his composure for the first time all night. He stared hard at me, eyes narrowed. Ethan, did you say Ocean Mind Labs? 90 million valuation? And David Klein is leading the IPO? His voice cracked, not with excitement, but with the dawning, terrifying realization that he had made a colossal mistake. How am I supposed to believe that? This isn't a joke. A sliver of doubt finally flickered in his eyes. One part of me desperately wanted to watch them crash and burn, to savor the taste of revenge. But another part, the little boy who once just wanted his father's love, asked, should I stop here? Should I give them a chance to actually see me? Just then my phone blared, a video call from Sophia. I answered, ignoring my mother's disapproving glare about my lack of manners. I'm sorry, this is urgent, I said, placing the phone on the table, aiming the screen toward the family. Ethan, Sophia's voice rang out, clear and totally unfazed. I know you're busy, but we just got the official word from David Klein's office. They've finalized the roadshow schedule for the IPO and confirmed the valuation. I figured your family should know this. The whole room froze solid. The air was thick with suffocating silence. I could see the complete collapse in my father's eyes. Irrefutable proof coming straight from his colleague's office. Shattered their last bit of disbelief. Then, As if to drive the point home, my phone buzzed again. Not Sophia, but an email notification that made even me hold my breath. "You've always been a dreamer," my mother dismissed me. "But real business takes business sense, darling. Something you deliberately skipped when you chose the wrong major." My dad leaned forward. "This isn't punishment, Ethan. It's motivation. Sometimes people need consequences to choose the right path." The condescension was suffocating. I'd hidden this success for years, partly for protection, partly waiting for the perfect moment. I decided that moment was now. Silence settled, heavy and awkward. My father stood up, quietly leaving the room, avoiding eye contact. My mother gripped her coffee cup, her hand shaking slightly. Noah opened his mouth, then clamped it shut. Olivia flushed scarlet, stuttering, You're the founder?" Only Mr. Harris smiled, his eyes full of pride. "Nobody ever actually asked what I did," I continued. "Not one serious question. You decided years ago that my work was worthless because it didn't fit your narrow definition of success." "We just saw the derelict warehouse Grandpa left you," Olivia snapped, reverting to her mocking tone. "It suits you better than your little tech games." "You're wasting your potential," Noah added. "You need a real job, not just some dumb code." "You never supported me," I went on, amazed I was finally saying these words out loud. "You ridiculed my choices at every turn." "You didn't even come to my graduation." "MIT isn't Yale, right?" Noah mumbled under his breath as if that explained everything. "You all knew I was in financial AI," I said, "but you chose to treat that dusty old warehouse as the only thing I deserved. If you'd bothered to ask, you would know Ocean Mind Labs has your father's fund as its IPO underwriter." "I don't need the Taylor Fund to succeed." The silence lingered, awkward and thick, until Mr. Harris let out a genuine, hearty laugh that broke the tension. "Well," he said, raising his glass of wine, "I guess congratulations are in order." The sight before me almost made up for all those years of dismissal. 4 stunned faces, each one grappling with shock and disbelief. My mum regained her composure first. Her social programming instantly kicked in. "Ethan, darling," she cooed. That voice was brand new. "That's such fantastic news. Why didn't you spill the beans about this huge success?" My dad immediately shifted from shock to cold calculation. I could literally watch him reevaluate my net worth on the spot. 90 million, he repeated slowly. "The valuation for your finance AI application." Ocean Mind Labs, I gave them the name they never cared to learn. "Yeah, we're prepping for IPO, underwritten by your fund, Dad." Noah looked like he'd been slapped across the face. You work with Dad's fund?" "David Klein's team," I clarified, naming his reputable colleague. "He's been super supportive. David is personally running our IPO." Dad lost the condescending edge. It was replaced by something close to fear. He hasn't led a fintech project in years. "He made an exception," I said simply. "He believes in what we're building." Olivia, who can't handle silence, jumped in with fake warmth. "That's incredible, Ethan. I always knew you were good with those computers." The attempt to rewrite history was so shameless it was hilarious. "Oh, really?" I asked gently. "Because you didn't say that last month in New York when you tried to invite me to your tech law seminar." My phone buzzed again. A text. I checked it. "Sophia, Forbes wants an exclusive on the Swiss deal. 2-hour deadline. Cover shoot confirmed Wednesday." I looked up. My mother was staring at my wrist with brand new eyes. "Is that a Patek Philippe?" she asked. She finally noticed my watch. The rose gold piece was my gift to myself after the second round. "Yep," I confirmed. "Last year's model." "And your shirt," she went on, reassessing the simple polo she'd mocked minutes ago. "That's not Uniqlo, is it?" "Xenia," I admitted. "I made a point of dressing down when I came home." The implication, that I was rich enough to hide it, hung heavy in the air. My dad cleared his throat. He was now in full businessman mode. "Ethan, clearly there's been a misunderstanding regarding your career status." "So about that derelict warehouse?" I asked him straight up. He winced at my bluntness. "Regarding the asset allocation, circumstances have clearly changed," I repeated. My status hasn't changed in the last 15 minutes. I'm the same guy with the same career you just deemed unworthy of the family. Don't be difficult, son, my mother cut in. Your father and I just want to correct a simple error. It wasn't an error, I shot back. You made yourselves perfectly clear. My choices don't fit the Taylor value system. My career isn't prestigious enough. I don't contribute to the legacy. Noah, ever the calculator, tried damage control. We were worried because we thought you were struggling, he said. You never told us about this success. I wonder why. Mr. Harris mumbled into his wine glass. What is your equity worth? The quick math silenced the whole table again. Over $49.5 million, my dad stated carefully. On paper, right now, I confirmed. The IPO could easily double that. And we're going international next quarter. My mother reached across the table, grabbing my hand. The gesture was so bizarre it made me flinch. Darling, this is incredible news. We must celebrate properly. I'm calling the club tomorrow, organizing a special dinner. There's no need, I interrupted gently, pulling my hand back. Nonsense. This is a huge family achievement, she insisted. We have to do this right. Family achievement? I repeated. Just minutes ago, I wasn't Taylor enough to get basic support. Now my success belongs to the family? Dad shifted uncomfortably. I sent a note once yesterday. I was wrong. I'm proud you didn't quit and fought for your dream. But Ethan, perhaps we were too hasty. Family decisions need to be based on full information. You had the information you valued, I corrected him. You knew I was in financial AI tech, but you chose to see the warehouse first. If you had chosen differently, you'd have known OceanMind Labs had your own fund as its IPO underwriter. I stood up, looked around the table. I don't need your corporate stamp of approval to know my worth. Mr. Harris taught me that at MIT, success is doing what you believe in, not pleasing other people's expectations. I will keep building OceanMind Labs, but not to get back at this family. I'm doing it for me, for Sophia, and for the people who believed in our dream from day one. I walked out, leaving only stunned silence. Since then, I've kept my distance, only meeting my parents a few times for light conversation. Dad tried to jump in. I knew you founded a company. We just thought it wasn't significant because it didn't fit the family's definition of success. Startup valuations can be volatile, Olivia chimed in. Concerns about stability were valid. Concerns, I asked, or judgment? Noah, always tactless, shifted strategy. So exciting, Ethan. With your tech expertise and my fiancé's political contacts, we could create an incredible opportunity. He advises a young senator looking for a finance AI platform to promote in his campaign. The sheer audacity of trying to leverage my success was stunning. And Dad, Noah went on excitedly, think of the investment opportunity for the family fund. Pre-IPO access would be huge. My dad nodded, already calculating profits. We should discuss how the family can participate. I can call David Klein tomorrow morning. Stop, I said, quiet but firm. The whole family stopped. They all looked at me confused. I don't need investment from the family, I made clear. OceanMind Labs is fully capitalized. But a pre-IPO spot for the family would be beneficial, my father started. No, I cut him off. The shareholder list is closed. What about a board seat? Olivia suggested. The Taylor presence would add prestige. The board is full, I countered, with members who believed in the company from the beginning. My mother looked genuinely lost. Darling, we want to support you properly now. Now that you know I'm wealthy, I corrected gently. That isn't support. Mr. Harris coughed, stifling a laugh. That's unfair, Noah protested. We're family. Family supports each other's success. Oh, really? I asked. Where was that sentiment an hour ago? My father, ever the pragmatist, tried another angle. The past is the past, son. Let's focus on the future. The Taylor network can open doors your company hasn't touched yet. I looked at him, considering. What doors are still closed to a $90 million company that has your own fund as its IPO underwriter? He had no answer. I appreciate the sudden interest in my career, I said, standing up. But I have to go. I have an early meeting. Go? My mother panicked.
You haven't had dessert?
We need to discuss media strategy, your investment plans. Your father has excellent contacts for wealth management. I already have a financial advisor, a PR team, lawyers, and every service I need, I said, picking up my bag. But we're family, she insisted, as if that trumped everything. I looked at her, sadly. Yes, that's why I came to these dinners year after year, knowing exactly what was waiting. Knowing none of my achievements were ever enough. My father stood too, his face serious. Son, don't rush. Family ties are more important than a temporary disagreement. I agree, I said, which is why I'll take time to figure out what kind of relationship I want with this family. I set clear boundaries, just like I rejected Olivia's investment and Noah's collaboration proposal in New York. Dad sent a note saying he was proud, but I haven't replied. I need space. I turned to Mr. Harris, who watched with a mixture of pride and sadness. Need a ride? He immediately gathered his things. I'd love one. As we headed for the door, my phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. Bloomberg wants to feature you as FinTech Innovator of the Year. Confirm by tomorrow. Noah, refusing defeat, called after me. Ethan, I'm hosting a dinner next week for my fiancé's political backers. It would be great if you came to talk about AI innovation. I stopped at the door, taking a final look. The opulent dining room, the expensive wine, and my family, who only saw me when I became valuable to them. I'll check my calendar, I said politely. But just a warning, my speaking fee for political events starts at $60,000. With that, Mr. Harris and I stepped out into the cool night air. The ride from Stamford to his apartment in Somerville was silent at first. The weight of the evening lingered until he broke the silence with a soft chuckle. You handled that perfectly, he said.
Now what are you going to do with that warehouse?
I hadn't had a chance to answer when my phone vibrated again. This time it was an email. I opened it and couldn't suppress a small smile. You're not going to believe this, Mr. Harris, I said, showing him the screen. It was an official email from the NVIDIA Office of Strategy and Acquisitions with the subject line, Strategic Partnership Proposal and Discussion of Potential Consolidation with Ocean Mind Labs. The email mentioned that NVIDIA saw the revolutionary potential of the finance AI platform. They wanted to leverage it to optimize their supercomputers and improve global predictive accuracy, and they were ready to make an offer that significantly exceeds the current $90 million valuation. Holy cow, Mr. Harris exclaimed, his eyes shining.
NVIDIA, they want to buy you out?
It looks like they're very eager to talk, I replied, putting the phone away. And that warehouse? I think I'll turn it into the first community AI research center. A place where kids like I was can find their passion instead of being mocked. Now that's a real legacy, Mr. Harris said, his eyes bright. He helped me realize my worth didn't need family validation. My new family, Sophia, Mr. Harris, and the future students at the AI Center were the people who believed in my dream from day one. $60,000 for a speech, Mr. Harris mused. Your mother almost swallowed her pearls, I chuckled. I don't charge a speaking fee, but for Noah's fiancé, I'll charge double, he winked. That arrogant boy. We arrived at his apartment in Somerville, but didn't rush out of the car. You knew, didn't you?
I asked about Ocean Mind Labs. Mr. Harris smiled. I read the tech section in Forbes, son.
Your company was featured 3 months ago. I was waiting for you to be ready to share. I should have told you, I admitted. I'm just used to keeping things hidden from the family. It's a valid reason, he said, patting my arm gently. Your father and I grew up with the same message. Success is the right school, the right club, the right investment. It took me until I was 40 to break free from that mindset. You did it in your early 20s. I'm not entirely free, I confessed. I still attend these family dinners, still crave their validation on some level.
That's human nature, not weakness, he gently corrected.
Everyone wants their parents' love, but you didn't trade yourself for it. I taught you one thing at MIT. Your self-worth doesn't need anyone's confirmation, only your belief in what you do. We sat in comfortable silence, and then he asked, What will you do about the family now?
I considered.
Set clear boundaries. I won't participate in the sudden show of interest, but I won't cut them off completely either. I'll only meet Dad a couple of times for light conversation, as I decided after his note. Wise, he nodded.
And Ocean Mind Labs, now that the secret is out?
Proceeding as planned, I said. The IPO is on track. The work is too important to be affected by family drama. Mr. Harris hugged me before getting out. I always knew you would do something extraordinary, Ethan, not because you're a tailor, but because you are yourself. His words followed me into my Somerville apartment, a converted space with exposed brick and windows overlooking the Boston Harbor. As I kicked off my shoes and poured a glass of wine, my phone lit up with a flood of notifications. A text from Dad. We should discuss investment strategies for your new position. Lunch tomorrow at the club. An email from Mom. Darling, I've added you to the guest list for next month's Symphony Gala. The chairman wants to discuss a contribution from Ocean Mind Labs. A text from Olivia. Nice play, little brother. Let's get coffee. I want to hear more about opportunities in finance AI. And from Noah. My fiancé wants your input on his platform. Would Ocean Mind Labs consider a campaign donation? P.S. I want to introduce you to Thomas, Yale Law, wealthy family, a great match. I put the phone down, ignoring them, and called Sophia.
I'm so sorry, she said immediately.
I didn't know you were at the family dinner.
I should have been more discreet. Don't apologize, I interrupted.
Your timing was perfect. Really? Sophia sounded relieved.
How did they react?
As I predicted, I replied. Suddenly my computer hobby is fascinating and I'm being invited to guest lists I was never good enough for before. Ouch, Sophia sympathized. Well, what are you going to do? Focus on what matters, I stated firmly. We have an IPO to prepare, banks to support. On that note, Sophia switched to business mode. The team wants to celebrate the Swiss Fund news. Meeting at 8 a.m. sharp. Great, I agreed. And Sophia ordered the good champagne. The team deserves it. Hanging up, I stepped to the window, looking out at the Boston night sky. For years I had lived in two worlds, the struggling son at family dinners and the successful founder in the boardroom. Now the two worlds had collided, and I needed to define how they would coexist. The next morning, I arrived at the Ocean Mind Labs office in Kendall Square to find the team already gathered in the glass conference room. 40 faces looked up full of anticipation. Programmers, financial analysts, support specialists, the people who believed in the vision when few others did. Before we open the champagne, I said, placing my bag down, I want to thank all of you.
What we've built isn't just about market value.
It's changing lives. Every day, financial transactions are processed safely, quickly, thanks to the system we created. Sophia handed me a glass of champagne, raising her own. To Ocean Mind Labs, she said, and to Ethan, the one who saw the future of financial AI when everyone else was still in the dark. After the celebration, I walked into my office. My assistant was looking at me. Your dad called 3 times. Your sister is in the lobby, she said. Olivia?
I was surprised.
She said she was just passing through, my assistant replied, winking. Should I send her up? I nodded. Give me 5 minutes. When Olivia walked in, her expression was a mix of awkwardness and calculation. She looked around, the glass walls, the modern interior, the Forbes article about Ocean Mind Labs. Nice, she said, her hands tucked into her blazer pockets. Very start-up chic. What brings you to Kendall Square? I asked, not inviting her to sit. Can't a brother and sister visit each other? She forced a smile. Or is it Dad? I countered. You've never been here before. She looked slightly embarrassed.
Look, about the family dinner.
Let me stop you there, I cut in. If you're here with an investment proposal or a partnership offer, I'm not interested. That's harsh, she frowned. We're family. That's right, I agreed. So I'll have lunch with you one day. We can talk about family matters, attend family functions. But Ocean Mind Labs is completely separate from the family. That's not very wise, she argued. The Taylor connections could... Those connections weren't offered over the 4 years I built this company, I pointed out.
I don't need them now, Because we didn't know, she insisted. You didn't ask, I corrected.
Oh, there's a difference. She fidgeted, then tried a different approach. Dad feels terrible about the dinner. The insults. It was meant to motivate you. We genuinely didn't know you had succeeded. What if I hadn't succeeded, I asked. If I were the struggling startup employee you thought I was, would it have been okay to disrespect me? She had no answer. Olivia, I have a meeting with my real investors, the ones who believed in the company before they knew the valuation, in 10 minutes. If there's nothing else? She stood up straight, putting her businesswoman facade back on. Fine, I'll tell Dad you're busy.
Maybe next week?
He wants to make amends. Tell Dad I'll call him when I'm ready, I stated firmly. And Olivia, the next time you genuinely want to know what I'm working on, I'm happy to explain, but only if you mean it. After she left, I returned to work, finalizing IPO documents, reviewing the international expansion plan, prepping for the Forbes interview. We were nearing the IPO finish line, scheduled to launch in a few weeks. In the following weeks, I kept my distance from the family's attempts to reconcile. My mother's calls went to voicemail. My father's lunch invitations were politely but firmly declined. Noah's blatant requests for me to support his fiancée's campaign were met with silence. The only relative I kept in touch with was Mr. Harris, who stopped by the office one afternoon to chat. Extraordinary, he said, watching an engineer demo the platform. You built something that helps people. That was always the goal, I said. Evaluation is just the reward. And that's why you succeeded, he observed. You solve a real problem, you don't chase the money. The financial success of Ocean Mind Labs made headlines, but the number I was truly pleased with was our impact. Over 100 banks now use the AI platform, processing 10 million small transactions daily with 98% accuracy, helping to minimize financial risks and accelerate global transactions. The technology we built is changing how the world operates. The media coverage was intense. Forbes, Inc., Bloomberg all wanted the story of the financial AI founder. A vibrant flower arrangement arrived from my mother with a card. So proud of our brilliant son. Love, Mum and Dad. I had it sent to the pediatrics ward at Massachusetts General Hospital. I gave interviews, focusing on the technology and community impact, avoiding personal questions about family or relationships. The biggest decision after the IPO was establishing the Taylor Innovation Fund, valued at $2 million, funded by Ocean Mind Labs' profits, to support minority youth studying financial AI technology. The name of the fund was deliberate. I was redefining the Taylor legacy on my own terms. The fund launched a scholarship program, helping minority students attend AI coding camps and receive mentorship from tech leaders, including Sophia and me. When a reporter asked if the fund was named after my family, I replied, "It is named after me." My relationship with my family shifted to strict control. I attended Christmas at the Stamford mansion, but only for 2 hours and with Sophia as a buffer. I agreed to lunch with my father a few times, keeping the conversation strictly to the Boston weather or the Red Sox. My mother invited me to social events, but I declined, except for a children's hospital fundraiser where Ocean Mind Labs was a major sponsor. I accepted Noah's wedding invitation, but noted on the RSVP that I would attend alone and leave shortly after the ceremony. The only deep relationship I maintained was with Mr. Harris, who joined the management board of the Taylor Innovation Fund, lending his academic knowledge and youth support philosophy to the funding decisions. We had dinner weekly, and he became a trusted advisor for both personal and business matters. "You're handling it well," he said one evening. "Respectful, but with boundaries." "It's still hard sometimes," I admitted. "I want them to understand and appreciate what I built, not just the dollar value." "They may never understand," he said gently. "Your success is outside their frame of reference. They see the numbers, they don't see the vision." He was right. My parents attempted reconciliation in the ways they understood: invitations to exclusive clubs, introductions to suitable partners, suggestions for wealth management. They never once asked about the AI center or why it was important to me. My father did come to the office 3 months after the IPO, asking for a tour. "It's impressive," he said afterward, genuinely surprised by the sophistication. "Not what I expected." "What did you expect?" I asked. He hesitated. Smaller, less significant. It was the closest he had ever come to admitting his error. "You proved me wrong," he added. "Not many people manage that." "It wasn't about proving anyone wrong, Dad," I replied. "It was about building something meaningful." He nodded slowly, not fully understanding but trying. It was a small, yet genuine step. I started therapy after the IPO on Mr. Harris's suggestion with a specialist in family dynamics. The doctor helped me realize that my drive for success was partly fueled by a desire for family validation, something I might never receive. What if you accepted that your parents may not understand your choices as you wish? The question was painful but illuminating. True healing came from not needing their approval. I forged friendships with other founders who understood the startup journey and mentored the youth at the Community AI Research Center, where Sophia and I taught. A 15-year-old girl, pressured to study medicine, won a national coding competition. A 12-year-old boy at the opening ceremony had asked, "Mr. Ethan, how did you know you would succeed?" I replied, "I didn't, but if you give up, it's over. Success is about helping others believe in themselves." A year later, he won a programming prize, thanking me. I spoke at high schools in Boston's underserved areas, becoming the voice I needed when I was young. I donated 10% of Ocean Mind's profits to international tech scholarships, and my old keyboard, engraved with "Every dream starts with the first few keystrokes," was displayed at the center. My true legacy was the students I inspired, just as Mr. Harris had done for me at MIT. At an event at the Community AI Research Center, a 15-year-old girl with bright eyes and a determined look approached me after my talk. "My parents want me to be a doctor or a lawyer," she said. "They told me coding isn't for girls like me." "Did you ever feel that way?"
"Always," I replied sincerely.
The most important thing I learned is that you define your own success, not your parents or society. "But what if they never understand?" the girl asked, the familiar painful question. "Then you build a life that is true to yourself so that their understanding becomes secondary," I answered.
"And you find the people who do understand you, mentors, friends."
"Colleagues, the ones who see the vision and appreciate your path." In that moment, speaking to a younger version of myself, I understood that my family's rejection, though painful, had ultimately shaped me. It forced me to develop the resilience, self-reliance, and conviction in my vision that led to Ocean Mind Lab's success. The following week, my mother called unexpectedly. "I watched your speech at the Youth Technology Conference," she said. "Someone shared it online. You spoke very well. You're like your grandfather, you have charisma in front of a crowd." It was the first compliment my mother had ever given me that wasn't about my appearance or my social manners. "Thank you, Mom," I said simply. "I don't understand what you do," she admitted after a pause. "Technology, financial AI, I can't grasp it. But I see that it's important to you and to many other people." It wasn't a complete understanding, but it was recognition, a first step towards seeing me for who I truly was. A year after that family dinner in Stamford, I hosted a housewarming party at my new home in Somerville. The guests included the original Ocean Mind Labs team, other founders, Mr. Harris, Sophia, my partner and co-teacher at the center, students from the AI Center, and, after some deliberation, my immediate family. Looking at the diverse group chatting in the living room, the family I chose alongside my blood relatives, I felt an unexpected sense of peace. The Taylor family dynamic hadn't changed, but my relationship with them had. I no longer needed their approval to know my worth or my path. When I raised my glass for a toast, my voice was steady. "To true success," I said, "measured not by bank accounts or status, but by the lives we touch and the problems we solve." To the people who believed in me before I succeeded, and to each of us defining our own legacy, regardless of our last name. Mr. Harris watched me from across the room, nodding proudly. My parents looked slightly bewildered but listened with respect. Sophia, the Ocean Mind Labs team, and the students from the AI Center, the ones who believed in the mission from the start, smiled with true understanding. That night, as everyone left, I stood on the rooftop looking out at the Boston night sky. My phone buzzed. Ocean Mind Labs had just signed a contract with 50 international banks. Our first global expansion move. Financial transactions would be safer and faster because of the thing I built, the thing my family once called a computer hobby. I thought about that 15-year-old girl and others like her, young people whose dreams didn't fit other people's expectations. If my story helped them remain firm in their vision, then being scorned by my family in Stamford was a gift. It forced me to own my path instead of seeking external validation. The most painful rejection leads us to the greatest strength. Being looked down upon pushes us to find what we truly need. The most powerful response to rejection is not argument, but building something meaningful that speaks for itself. The AI Center, where the 15-year-old girl, once pressured to study medicine, won a national coding competition, and the 12-year-old boy, at the opening ceremony, asked, "Mr. Ethan,
How did you know you would succeed?
I replied, "I didn't, but if you give up, it's over." Success is about helping others believe in themselves. A year later, he won a programming prize, thanking me. I donated 10% of Ocean Mind's profits to international tech scholarships. My old keyboard, engraved with "Every dream starts with the first few keystrokes," was displayed at the center. My legacy is the students I inspire, just as Mr. Harris did for me at MIT. I kept my distance from the family, only meeting my father a few times for light conversation. My story is not just for me, but for anyone who has had their dreams doubted. I faced rejection from my family. I was pushed towards paths that weren't my own, but I chose to build Ocean Mind Labs and the AI Center to prove that true success is living authentically. The strongest validation is the one you give yourself. I hope this journey inspires you to define success on your own terms. Find the people who believe in your dream and build a full life. Just as I did, the deadly silence at that dinner table proved one truth: your worth is not granted by anyone. And Ethan's journey proves that you don't have to be alone. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of your own dreams, subscribe to the channel right now. Every subscription is not just support, but a promise that together we build a community where every dream is heard and every failure finds the strength to shine. And this is just the beginning. Ethan's journey still holds many challenges and temptations ahead, which will test every limit of his perseverance and true values. What about you? Have you ever faced a life-changing choice between retaliation and forgiveness? What moment made you believe that every effort will eventually be rewarded? Please comment and share your story below, because every story is a source of strength and we are always listening.